The most distant source of the Amazon was thought to be in the Apurimac River drainage for nearly a century. Such studies continued to be published even recently, such as in 1996, 2001, 2007, and 2008, where various authors identified the snow-capped 5,597 meters, 18,363 feet, Nevado-Mismi Peak, located roughly 160 kilometers, 99 miles, west of Lake Titicaca and 700 kilometers, 430 miles, southeast of Lima, as the most distant source of the river. From that point, Quebrada Caja Santa emerges from Nevado-Mismi, joins Quebrada Apachita and soon forms Rio Loquita, which becomes Rio Hornillos and eventually joins the Rio Apurimac. A 2014 study by Americans James Kantos and Nicholas Tripchevich in area, a peer-reviewed journal of the Royal Geographical Society, however, identifies the most distant source of the Amazon as actually being in the Rio Mantero drainage. A variety of methods were used to compare the lengths of the Mantero River vs. the Apurimac River from their most distant source points to their confluence, showing the longer length of the Mantero. Then distances from Lago Junin to several potential source points in the uppermost Mantero River were measured, which enabled them to determine that the Cordillera Rumi Cruz was the most distant source of water in the Mantero Basin, and therefore in the entire Amazon Basin. The most accurate measurement method was direct GPS measurement obtained by kayak descent of each of the rivers from their source points to their confluence, performed by Kantos. Obtaining these measurements was difficult given the Class 4V nature of each of these rivers, especially in their lower, abyss, sections. Ultimately, they determined that the most distant point in the Mantero drainage is nearly 80 kilometers farther upstream compared to Mt. Mismi in the Apurimac drainage, and thus the maximal length of the Amazon River is about 80 kilometers longer than previously thought. Kantos continued downstream to the ocean and finished the first complete descent of the Amazon River from its newly identified source, finishing November 2012, a journey repeated by two groups after the news spread. After about 700 kilometers, 430 miles, the Apurimac then joins Rio Mantero to form the Ine, which joins the Parin to form the Tambo, which joins the Urubamba River to form the Ucayali. After the confluence of Apurimac and Ucayali, the river leaves Andean terrain and is surrounded by floodplain from this point to the confluence of the Ucayali and the Maranon. Some 1,600 kilometers, 990 miles. The forested banks are just above the water and are inundated long before the river attains its maximum flood stage. The low river banks are interrupted by only a few hills, and the river enters the enormous Amazon rainforest.